Hello everybody, welcome to the weekend video, again another weekend, and this is Enda obviously from bullwaves.org, and again I want to thank you for hanging around for the week. Let's get straight into this, shall we? I do enough chit chat during the week. Okay, this is Eurodollar. Like always, I'm going to go through the markets and review what's happened and look into the crystal ball and see what may happen next week. Alrighty, this is Eurodollar. This is the 4-hour chart, and well, so far so good this week. We were looking for that decline to begin wave 3, and we've got a decline. So still kind of jury's out on whether this is wave 3 down or not, but so far so good. We'll take it. I'll take it. It looks like that we've got 5-3 at one larger degree here, and now it looks like we've got 5-3 complete and a nice steady move to the downside this week. Alright, so the hourly chart, I'm plotting this as, well, get that wave 3 down there. This less than impulsive move, let's say, during the week as wave 3. I wasn't sure whether that wave 3-4 combo was complete yesterday, but it seems that we've got a running flat on the go today, so that was probably wave 4 high today, and a pretty sharp move lower again, most likely in a 5th wave. So we have got possibly a wave 1, 2, 3, and 4 with wave 5 underway. It would be nice if support broke at a minimum 112.89. That'd be awesome, because that would kind of give us a little bit of encouragement going forward on into wave 3. But for now, it looks like that we've got what we were looking for in terms of a 5-wave move to the downside. And here goes my voice again. And so for early next week, we should expect a kind of a retracement back to the upside in wave 2. Again, we'll probably use that previous B wave there as a kind of an initial target for wave 2, so up around the 114 again. So if we were to rise in 3 waves up to that 114 level, that would probably conclude a bearish signal, and we could prepare to we could prepare for wave 3 of 3 to the downside. Ignore, I'm trying to do something here on the fly. Okay, so far so good for Eurodollar. We kind of with the tentatively bearish setup, or an outlook for a bearish setup early next week. Okay, let's get into pound dollar. Again, it looks the sell-off translated into pound dollar as well. So this wave 2 high is a little bit safer as a running flat wave 2. I was kind of half expecting a break of that 133 previous wave A high in wave C. That hasn't happened, and we've got a nice punch lower. We haven't broken those this internal B wave low here yet, but it's probably on the way. It's probably on the way next week. And the same kind of story goes for cable. We look for a bearish signal to complete next week and a continuation of wave 1 down. That'll be wave 1 of 3. Okay, so the hourly chart. That sharp rise yesterday is labeled wave A, so that'd be wave A of 2, and we got it seems like we got a 3-wave decline off that, so that could be wave B. Not sure if that's complete yet. I mean, this could be 3, 3, 5 to complete a larger wave B, and then we might get some sort of like a pretty sideways or maybe even a flat pattern in wave wave 2 altogether, but for now it's hard to read that anything other than a 5-wave pattern, so it's most likely a zigzag. Excuse me. Most likely a zigzag, so that would suggest another 5 waves up in wave C to complete wave 2, and so that would give us a 1-2 pattern in cable again, and that would kind of let's say solidify the bullish view on US dollar. If we got, you know, bearish signals in both euro dollar and pound dollar, and we'll look into dollar yen again in a second. But for now, it looks like we are setting up for a run up in the US dollar in general. Okay, so that's cable covered. I'm kind of speeding through these today. Okay, this is dollar yen, and as you can see, this is the 4-hour chart. That real spike low is viewed as an E wave, the completion of a triangle in wave E. Let's see if I can pull that up a bit better. Yeah, wave E of B, and so far so good. We've got these nice 5-3 moves to the upside, and expecting again, same story as euro dollar and pound dollar. We're expecting a nice rally in the dollar, so that should translate to a nice rally in dollar yen also. Okay, that's the 4-hour chart. Oh, by the way, yeah, that 4-hour chart would, I mean, if this is the wave B low, let's get to the daily chart there. If this is the wave B low, and the wave A high is back up at 125, so the minimum target for wave C would be a break of that 125.90 level. So you just call it 126 as a minimum target in 5 waves to the upside, and that would take, you know, we're talking about probably a year or more of upside. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So the 4-hour chart's done. Let's get to the hourly chart. That's that real spike low to complete wave E, and it looks like leading diagonal wave 1. The degrees on these counts could change as well. I mean, we could switch this up to a higher degree to get more kind of granularity in here, but for the moment it's kind of split in hairs. It doesn't really matter. We've got a 5-3 pattern there in 1 and 2. It looks like we've got a 5-3 pattern here in 1 and 2, and a nice spike higher this week in a possible 1-2. It's hard to know whether this second wave is complete yet. There could be a minor triangle here in a B wave. It's a little bit undecisive. The move today is more or less sideways and in 3 waves, so unless this is like a double combination, so you get a 3-3 and 3 pattern, which is very possible. If we were to hit that lower trend line again, we would target about 109.50 or so. The 50% retracement level is at 109.30, so even if we dropped into 109.30 below that, I'd expect then the rally to begin in wave 3 of 3, possible wave 3 of 3 of 3 to the upside. So I can kind of read some pressure building in the dollar at the moment. So that's the dollar FX market done. Let's move on to the stock market. So here is the Dow, and I was looking for a beginning of a possible decline into a third wave. We spent the first half of the week rising, despondently rising. Well, we never got up to that previous wave 2, which is I'll take it. You know, I'll take everything I can get at the moment. But it looks like that we may have the beginning of the next leg down. At least I am more hopeful than I was last week. The sentiment indicators that we were following during the week and the momentum indicators in general are or just blown out to the top, to the upside, on the bullish extreme. So, you know, even if you still were bullish on the stock market, you would expect some sort of a sell-off to begin this week, and well, at least we've got some decline to talk about. This could be 5 waves down. We're continuing to sell into the afternoon, slowly but surely. It's only 5 o'clock here, GMT, so that would make it only lunchtime over there in New York. So it's possible that we have a wave 1, 2, and we're working on wave 3 down, or else this is maybe a 1 wave to the downside. So we could have like an internal, maybe 1 wave here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get away from me. Wish that thing stopped and keep appearing. For the moment, it's kind of work in progress. We definitely need to start seeing, you know, break of these kind of support levels here. That previous 3rd wave and this previous 4th wave, 2 incredibly important levels to break the back off of that rally, and kind of create a head and shoulders to the downside again. So we got that left shoulder, the head is complete. It seems like you know, with a little bit of luck and the grace of God, we'll keep selling into this evening's close in a 3rd wave down. Initially, I'd like to see that 3rd wave high break, so that'll be 24,760 level, and then this 4th wave hopefully early next week to break, and that's 24,320. So that would give us a nice 1,000-point drop. So far we're only down, what is it, 500 points maybe, 25,440 high, so 24,920, yeah, clean 500 points off the high, which is nothing in the Dow these days. I remember when 500 points in the Dow was an immense move. Okay, so 500 points, possible 3rd wave down, so we're still working on this bearish signal to the downside, and hopefully with a little bit of luck we'll get that next week. That's pretty much it for the stock market. It's pretty much hands off at the moment. It would be nice to get a break of support 24,320. So if we've got a break at that 24,300 level next week, that would be pretty good, because we could rule out an extension of a 5th wave. So let's keep our eyes and ears pierced, hey, next week. It could be it could be the pivotal turn that we're all looking for. Well, that I'm looking for anyway. Okay, so gold 4-hour chart. Again, it looks like we're working on a 4th wave. Hard to know, kind of up in the air at that at the moment, to which degree this decline is, and I'll go into that on the alternates video in a short while. But we have a possible 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4th wave complete, maybe moving into a 5th wave in a 3rd wave. So in the near term, over the next couple of weeks, it's still looking positive for gold. We have a 3-wave decline complete, and let's move into the hourly chart to see that. So there's a few different ways of reading that, but I'll go into that again on the alternates video. So this is A, B, C, 3-wave decline complete down to the lower trend line this week, and we've got a little bit of positive action off that low again. So for the moment, we can stick with the idea that, or tentatively stick with the idea that this wave 4 is complete. Could also be just wave A of wave 4, but I think if we get a break of 1326 next week again in a nice 5-wave pattern, then we could probably look higher again into wave 5. Let's put a wave 5 up there. Talk amongst yourselves while I'm working here. So yeah, it would be a wave 3 of 5 to come. So possibly looking up in wave 5 next week, depending on whether this three-wave pattern holds. Okay, let's move on to crude oil. We've got to move lower, and it's early days yet, but it could be a wave 1 down, it could be a series of 1-2s down, and again, it could be part of a B wave, a larger B wave as well. So we'll be tracking that for the next week or so. Let's move this out of the way. For the moment, we have a possible three-wave retracement into the 38% three-wave correction, into the 38% retracement level, and a move lower off that again. So let's get into, in general, looking for a third wave down. So that's the idea for the moment. Now we have the hourly chart. So that's that wave 2 high there. I've switched up this evening. Just looking at the action off that low, it's a three-wave move, so we could be talking about a leading diagonal here. So 5 waves with an overlapping fourth and first wave. So, or you could call it a wedge pattern if you wanted it to the downside. 3 waves up. That could be wave 2 even complete. You wouldn't want to see any action above 54.40, or let's say. That'd be the previous fourth wave. So you would like to see wave 2 complete before that. And if this is a diagonal and we get a 3-wave move, then we should see a break of support. Then that 51.40 level becomes even more important, really, because we've got a possible higher degree 5-wave pattern lower. And we'd look for an acceleration lower in a third wave. So again, I'm still looking to the downside for crude oil, and we may have another major top in place at that 55.75 level. Okay, so of course the world and its mother is looking for $18, $90, $100 oil again after that rally in wave 2, and that's pretty common for bullishness at the height of a second wave correction to be even higher than the previous high before the decline. So that's kind of played out so far. So let's see, do we get this impulse wave to the downside completed early next week? And just to reiterate, we may even, this could even be still a series of 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 waves. So if that was the case, then we'd get an even larger immediate sell-off next week in crude. So we'll see. Keep an eye on that one. Possible third wave down on the way in crude oil. Okay, so this is the S&P. Same outlook for the S&P. Wave 2 possibly complete, and we've got the first reasonable decline in a while in the S&P. So looking for a bearish signal off that high to signal the way down in wave 3. So let's get into the hourly chart again, and it's more or less the same as the Dow. The move off the high seems to be a nicer 5-wave pattern, maybe even into today's low. So it's hard to know whether this is a continuation of wave 1 or a continuation in wave 3 of 1, or if we get some sort of a wave 2, a larger wave 2 correction early next week. In general, I'm still looking for that a little more concise 5-wave pattern lower and impulse wave lower in general before kind of making a excuse me, a call. But if that did happen next week, then they'd be ringing your friends and telling them to get out. So the first half of the week didn't go our way, but the second half of the week has given back all the gains. And if you drill into the pattern on the cash chart, you can see Off the top here, you can see an island formation. So you got a gap higher on Tuesday, I think, and then we got a gap lower the other day. So, or was it Thursday, to open? So we left that stranded price pattern above there, and we're continuing lower. So from a few angles, including sentiment, momentum, and general wave pattern, and that reversal pattern, we are kind of lining up dominoes again, and hopefully with a bit of luck it'll continue to create a larger bearish pattern to the downside in Elliott Wave terms. Okay, so let's move on to silver. And again, silver, I'm not so sure this correction in a possible second wave is complete just yet. We've had a move higher today, but it can be counted as a running flat. So suffice to say, I think we've got a nice 5-wave pattern to the upside here, and we're working on that 3 waves in wave 2, and we should see an acceleration then over the coming weeks and months in a 3rd wave. But off the lows we're up, $2, so it's a pretty decent move. Okay, so let's get into the hourly chart. Here's that B wave. We could call it a running flat. We could also call it a double combination maybe. We've got a move down this evening off that interim high. It doesn't look to me like that. The decline earlier this week was a C wave. I could be proved wrong on that, obviously. But if we develop a clearer 5-wave pattern to the upside next week, then we will switch to calling this wave C, and then we'll be looking higher in wave 3. But for the moment, I think we could see a little bit more weakness in silver early next week, but it should clear out of the way. Let's say by the middle of next week, and we should be clear to run higher in a 3rd wave. So yeah, for next week, watching for this 2nd wave to complete and a beginning of a 3rd wave up. Okay, let's get to treasuries. This is the 4-hour chart. I'm about to rethink of this today. It is possible that we have a triangle here, but this would be an alternate count, so I'll go through that on the alternate count video, which I will record next. And yeah, suffice to say, we've still got a nice move down off the high. This could still be a 3-wave move in wave 2, and we might be working on an impulse wave to the downside. But the action over the last couple of weeks is indicative of possibly a triangle, and that would be a 4th wave. Okay, but for the moment, I'm going to stick with the idea that we're closing out a 1-2 pattern, and we could be moving into a 3rd wave next week, lower. That is. Yeah, we've had a nice 5 waves down in wave 1. That's be the 1-2 pattern, and a 5-wave move lower in wave 1 again this week. And this move higher seems to be, well, it's continued and continued, but it seems to be in 3 waves so far. And resistance at 122 hasn't broken 122.50, so all in all, it's still possible to count it as a 2nd wave, and you'd expect it to decline into a 3rd wave next week. There's one other way of viewing that as a kind of a truncated 5th wave with an ongoing 3-wave pattern. But again, I'll get into that a little bit more detail in a few minutes. But for now, I'm still looking lower, and we're still looking for a break of that one, these previous interim lows. So that's the wave 1 low would be 121.56. So a break of that early next week would indicate a possible 3rd wave down beginning. And with a couple of caveats, but most importantly, that resistance at 123 should hold. Okay, actually that kind of wraps up the video, amazingly enough. I kept that one short and sweet. I usually kind of go on forever and ever at these, but thanks again for watching. Thanks for being with me throughout the week, and have a great weekend. I will catch you guys in the, I'm going to record the alternate video right now, so catch you guys in that video, I suppose. Have a great weekend. Godspeed. See you Monday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.